I haven't done anything. You're a good dad, a great dad.
He hasn't been found guilty, he's been accused. What have you done?
The parent side of the pain as well, bro. That I felt that, bro. I think Stephen Graham is a legend, bro. This guy, but what he did in that show, and to show the perspective of what the parent is going through, like, it was heartbreaking, bro. It was gut-wrenching. It was tear-jerking. That last scene, I was like, oh my God, like, what you doing to me, bro?
What a performance.
And as a parent, you think you're going to fail them because you can't watch them 24/7. We do live in on a time with online bullying, which is on a different level right now, bro, because I think kids are getting affected by it even more now.
Bullying's 24/7 now. Back in the days, if you were bullied, maybe it was just at school. Or if you were out as a kid, you're like, oh shit, I'm going to go through this again. Right? But now it's 24/7. Now you go through at school, you go through if you're out, and then when you're home, it's all over social media.
It's a call to action by the manosphere. 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. You must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way.
We've done nothing wrong, have we?
It's crazy what your brain tells you to do when you're a kid.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Brothers Geekout Reviews. Today we're reviewing Netflix show Adolescence, which came out a couple of weeks ago, and while the time has come out, it's really gone global. It's caused up a lot of controversy out there about real-world issues, about social issues, about teenage kids, about adolescence. Even Piers Morgan on his own channel, he had a whole debate about it and whatnot, about toxic masculinity and all this sort of stuff. So it's kicked up a lot. But the core of it, of the story and the storytelling and the messages trying to put out there is really important for people to know. It's about a 13-year-old boy played by Owen Cooper, hit named Jamie Miller. He's arrested under the suspicion of murder, leading to an insane and intense psychological and investigative drama. Adolescence is more than just a gripping crime drama. It's a thought-provoking social commentary on the modern challenges faced by teenagers, parents, and the whole society as a whole. The show dives into pressing issues like online radicalization, mental health struggles, toxic masculinity, and the consequences of poor parenting. Here's a deeper breakdown that we're going to go through a deeper breakdown and everything. We're going to go through central relationships, the father-son relationship. But the father was played, Jamie's father was played by Stephen Graham, who's a legend and an amazing performance in this. Ashley Waters is in it as the detective cop, Detective Dal Bascombe, who as a cop, again, Ashley does an amazing performance, who as a cop who's just trying to solve a murder mystery, but understanding this whole new world of what teenagers are going through in social media and keywords, and it's almost like a whole, he has to decipher this, it's almost like the Zodiac, the Zodiac killer, where you're literally trying to decipher these cryptic messages, and that's how social media and these terminologies have become for a cop. And then there was an interesting episode with the therapist who's played by Erin Dorothy, which was another great episode. So we're going to get into all of this. I mean, the concept of adolescence originated from the actor Stephen Graham's concern over the rising incidence of knife crime among British youths. Collaborating with screenwriter Jack Thorne, they aim to explore the motivation behind such violent acts. The director Philip Barantini, known for his work on the one-take film Boiling Point, was brought on board to bring the vision to life. The decision to employ a one-take method was driven by a desire to present the story in a real-time enhancing its raw and realistic portrayal. Adolescence has captivated audience with its innovative use of one-take filming technique. The approach involves a capturing of an entire episode in a single continuous shot without any visual cuts, immersing viewership deeply into the narrative. So we're going to geek out more about that side of things because that part was amazing. But the main core theme of this review, and I think the show, is the themes and the social commentary. I mean, there's so much behind it. But I got a few topics that I want to talk to you about, Kibbs. And we can geek out about the show, but it's it feels almost wrong to say let's geek out about it because it does touch on social issues. You have kids. I inshallah will have kids. We grew up in an age where I guess social media wasn't about, but bullying was about. We went through our own social issues, but then times were different. Then we didn't talk about our feelings and what we're going through. We kind of just had to deal with it, and it was kind of like, almost like we had to be men in the sense that we have to deal with our problems. Now, and I'm not saying even to this day and age, that we shouldn't encourage kids to deal with their problems or whatnot, but it was just different, right? So the fragility of an adolescent and mental health. I mean, Jamie was a 13-year-old boy, and this is like real life stuff. And he's the center of the story of this character, which embodies like a vulnerability of the youth, today's youth, right? The show kind of portrays on psychological struggles of teenagers who feel isolated, misunderstood, and in desperate of acceptance, right? And we all know that, right? That's the sort of feeling that we all kind of know. The pressures of school, social expectations, online influence, playing significant role in shaping like Jamie's thoughts and actions, right? Which is something that's worrying a little bit, man. Like, because listen, as kids, you get influenced, be it movies and news, whatever it is. But now you've got social media. And you have certain social media figures and whatnot that can influence people in certain ways, which can, I don't know, negatively or positively influence people. I don't know, because there's so much things out there. People got name dropped. Listen, Andrew Tate got name dropped in the show, right? And I don't even know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest, because there's one side of Andrew Tate, because I don't listen to that dude, to be honest with you. I personally don't like the way he expresses himself. So it's just not, I haven't really given him a chance to listen to a full-length conversation from this dude, right? Just only because I don't like the way he expresses himself. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of things that I disagree with what this dude, with Andrew Tate. I'm sure there's a lot of things that I might agree with, right? Because I do agree with, working out, being healthy, and learning martial arts and all that sort of stuff. But, you hear things about Andrew Tate and the misogyny side of things. And of course, I don't agree with that sort of stuff. But he literally got name dropped in this as an influence to teenagers. And there is an influence out there. But again, I don't know much about Tate and his whole, because I don't watch any long form sort of stuff. But what was shown on this show and what Jamie's character kind of went through, and there was a massive transition. And this kid, man, I mean, Owen Cooper done a great job of just kind of showing the vulnerability of Jamie and what he's going through. And then he kind of switches in episode 3. But yeah, no, Kibbs, I mean, what was your kind of thoughts around that and kids' mental health? And what's your concerns about, your kids growing up, becoming teenagers, adolescents, and all that sort of stuff? Like, what did you take away, and what's your thoughts?
I'm on mute.
You're on mute.
I'm on mute. Yeah. We live in a different time now. As you said, like when we were in that age, 13, 14 years old, we didn't have no mobiles and nothing. It was more face to face. It was tangible interactions. So if I got beats, I got beats. If somebody was cussing me, they were cussing me. It was face to face. So I feel like there's a real tangible feeling there when it's happened face to face. You can kind of deal with that. I think now in a society and everything where we've grown and things are out of context as well. Social media plays a big part, but then what they go through in schools with different terminologies and languages. That scene with Ashley Waters when he's speaking to his son and like trying to tell him like, the text messages are actually kind of different. Like the captions are different to what you think it is. He was actually getting bullied in those messages. So it's kind of like, oh, wow, like there's a whole different concept to what you're seeing on here. And I think that's great that they were able to show that, because we do live in a time with online bullying, which is on a different level right now, bro, because I think kids are getting affected by it even more now. That's why screen time with the kids right now, yes, they're getting their screen time, but we have to watch what they're watching. We're vigilant on what they're watching. They're not going to have social media, and they're not going to have mobile phones till they're old enough to get. They will have to try and understand what we're trying to bring to them as well. So I think parenting, and this show shows like the parent side of the pain as well, bro. That I felt that, bro. I think Stephen Graham is a legend, bro. This guy But what he did in that show, and to show the perspective of what the parent is going through, like, it was heartbreaking, bro. It was gut wrenching. It was tear jerking. That last scene, I was like, oh my God, like, what you doing to me, bro?
What a performance.
And as a parent, you think you're going to fail them because you can't watch them 24/7. They need to be able to make their choices. They need to make their own choices, bro. And in this, it perfectly shows that even though that he made his own choices, Owen's character, they were the wrong choices. You know, he let his anger take over him because he was getting bullied to that certain extent. And that could happen to anybody because he broke in that moment. But that scene, when you see the video footage, what is the first thing a father's going to feel, man? I remember the time I got arrested the first time and Dad went to the police station. He must have felt failed, bro. It broke my heart. It broke my absolute heart. It broke my heart. And I know what Dad went through. And Stephen portrayed that so well. Stephen portrayed that so well. And not many people probably know that I've been arrested before, but when I was in the station and you go through that situation, Dad couldn't even come see me during that moment as well. It's probably one of the worst things that I've ever gone through in my life, to be honest. The worst things. But knowing Dad had come and gone through and what he must have thought fucking destroyed me, bro. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. It's fasting month as well.
But this, you made such a good
powerful.
point.
It was so powerful. It was so powerful, bro. But he showed what the parents was going through, and that made me click straight away. And it was like, oh, what a failure. I failed. Dad didn't fail. Dad did not fail in that moment. I failed. I made the wrong choices. I did the wrong turn. I did the wrong thing. I can accept that. I have accepted that. So, but Dad needs to know that he didn't fail.
That's what I was going to say, because
Dad needs to know that he didn't fail.
Yeah, but as a father, he's going to feel that naturally. Even if you tell him, even if you reassure him, all that sort of stuff, he's going to feel that he failed. It doesn't matter. You can't convince him that he doesn't. You cannot convince Dad that he doesn't think that he failed with that.
And Stephen showed that really well in that.
Stephen showed that such a performance of so good. I was like, you could see it in his face. Absolutely amazing, man. That was one of the hardest performances I've seen. I mean, what a like. I can't even.
If there's an Oscar to go out to somebody, that guy needs to get that Oscar. He 100% deserves it. Stephen's been a legend from day dot. He's been in so much. It's unbelievable. Again, I think he's one of those underrated actors because he's always played either the side character or so, but he's always been mainstream when it comes to like TV and the UK stuff. But I mean, he's acted against the side of like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and all them characters as well. Like he's been big in the game, bro. I'm telling you. And he's really good with accents, even though he's got that Scouser accent.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
But listen, he's really.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been in like loads of things, man. Like he was in Venom most recently, 1,000 Blows, Blitz, Buffalo Kids, Women. Like there's loads of stuff here that he's been involved in. But yeah, I mean, this show was almost. I mean, listen, man. There's something amazing about when we're in a great time with like. Look, listen. There's so much stuff that's coming out there content-wise, right? It's amazing that something can come out and just kind of like make you feel like this is one of like a masterpiece. You know what I mean? Out of all the things that's coming out, left, right, and center, I almost feel like it's very rare that you have that little gem where you're like, and like that this is a masterpiece from the storytelling, the performance, and then the cinematography and direction in all aspects. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, and it's a British production and all that sort of stuff. I was really shocked by what I was, and this is what I'm saying. It's so memorable in the sense. When I say I'm shocked in the sense that everything that we're getting these days, man, is so great that they can still come out with these sort of concepts and storytelling, which just captures you. But yeah, I mean, I feel. That the father-son relationship, or the father he was a working class man. We just done a review for Bronx Tales. It keeps coming back to this now, right? I mean, maybe we done a review at the most perfect time, but just coming back to, the working class man, the coming back to, choices, the worst thing in the world is wasted talent. you know. And this was a working class man. He had his own business. He thought he was doing well by his family by keeping it legit and all that stuff. But just not knowing like what your kids are going through, like he just, I think it was showing like just not being there at certain moments. Oh, he's in his room. He wanted a computer. That's fine. I gave it. Just not being there, not spending that extra time. Hey, you want to go catch a movie or whatever it is what was like, maybe he thought that was missing, just that extra time, and not just leaving him to it in his room. Like, it's always being in contact with your kids, having that conversation with them, making sure you're hanging out with them, you know, give them their time, but also like making sure you're there and hanging out with them as well, and just having a conversation with them.
We live in a time where it's all about, like, you know, people talk about it's the grind, keep doing, hustling, blah, blah, blah. We know that, but there's a certain balance of what you need to do. I think taking time, that extra time to ask how they're doing. It's like the first thing I do when I pick up Lara, I give her treat from school, and then we walk, and then I ask her how's school, and, you know, how's everything, how's your friends doing, and then, you know, when we come home, we do dinner together. Like that moment there till before I go to work or anything, it was that she gets that 100% that I'm there. You know, she needs to know that. And I think a lot of parents do that. They do their best, bro. But it's as she gets older. Right now, she's still a kid. She's still a baby. For me, she'll always be my baby, and that's what Stephen saw in his character, in Jamie's character. You still see them as a baby, but you still feel like, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I there? It's the same thing with Nia. You know, there's moments where I'm like, oh, I wonder what she's doing in nursery right now. How's she? Like, she's 19 months, man. Breaks my heart. You know, if another kid hits her, or how does she feel? She came back with a little scar on her face. Did she hurt herself? What happens? You ask all of these questions. How does it affect? But then the girl's got this undying love, which is, like, you know, pure. They're both of them are just pure, and they be upfront and they say how it is, you know. But it's that time you put in. It's so difficult, and any parent struggle, because everybody's going to go through different types of struggle. And I'm the working class as well. You know, it is hard. It's not easy. You want to be there all the time for them. You can't, but we have to separate that time so that we can both put in our parent in, and making sure that we can help them as much as we can. You know, we want to do more karate lessons. We want to do different things like that. But I think the crucial part is how much time do we have? How much time can we give them? And then what they're fed with influences around them, you know? They're going to ask, like, I know Lara, with that very soon, is going to ask for a mobile. And I'm like, you're not old enough. And I'm not going to give you one. You got screen time, which we can watch, you know what I mean? But we have to be strict on saying, you don't need it. You're local anyway, you know what I mean? So if you could do it kind of like the way we did it, at least you have 50-50 of both worlds. And then you'll probably go through it later on in life. But then I want us to have that closeness, that closeness, so that you can feel open to speak to me. If not, you speak to your mum. You know what I mean? Excuse me, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we need that closeness. We need that closeness. We need that communication now. We need that even more now, because what they're watching online, and, you know, teenagers that are watching online now, bro, it's just open.
Yeah,
it's open net.
I heard in Australia, bro, that they put a ban on phones with kids under 16 or something like that. I think that's a really good idea. I really do.
Yeah.
And I feel like as parents, you should just put a natural ban on your kid. Like, just listen, you can't get a phone until you're at least 16 or whatnot. Because you mentioned a lot of stuff, even with the bullying, bro. Bullying's 24/7 now. Back in the days, if you were bullied, maybe it was just at school. Or if you were out before the kids, you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna go through this again. Right? But now it's 24/7. Like, you go through at school, you go through if you're out, and then when you're home, it's all over social media. And it's also the bullying and the shame that you kind of go through when you get bullied is escalate to everyone. Like, before, maybe it's in school, it's your class, maybe some schoolmates. Not everybody in school knows. Now with social media and everyone following each other and all that sort of stuff, it's escalated. Everyone knows what you're going through, and you're getting bullied in front of everyone. And what can you be going through? I mean, that the mental kind of struggles that you go through with bullying. And I've been there. I've been like moved to, and people want to rob me and all that sort of stuff. It's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling when someone tries to move to you. It's especially at that age, and it's like degrading. It's almost dehumanizing or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I've been there. So imagine constantly going through it. And we're in a different day and age now, like, especially with parenting. And like, mum phones me all the time, and her questions to me is always like, have you eaten? How are you? How's Ellie? All that sort of stuff, right? Cool. That's mum's way of asking, like, are you okay? But mum and dad never had that we, you know, it's just a different style of parent. They never had that. Are you okay? Is your mental health okay? Are you all that stuff? They didn't have that. Cool. Look, times have changed a little bit. Like, we went to a different type of bullying and social grow up and whatnot. Now, because social media, I feel like it's more important to ask and have those conversations with kids about mental health. Now, listen, we talk about mental health. I think it's a definitely real thing. We all go through it. I do think there's a group of people out there that use mental health as an excuse to not do things. I think that's wrong, right? This is where I think that there should be that natural grit that you should have, the willingness to like do things and not use mental health as an excuse to not do it. Now, I'm not saying that some people don't go through it legitimately. There are that, right? But I do think there's this generation almost, you don't want to, I'm not trying to be harsh or whatnot, but you still need to let them know that, listen, you still got to sometimes put your foot down. You've got to grit through it. You've got to get through some sort of shit. But if you've got stuff to talk about, let's talk about it. Don't be ashamed to talk about it. You could be a tough guy and talk about your how you feel about certain things to get over it. You could be a badass fighter, whatever it is, man. Badass dude, hit the gym, all that sort of stuff. Be healthy and still be vulnerable in regards to your feelings and emotion. But don't allow that to stop you from achieving things, from doing things. You know what I'm trying to say? That's where I feel like some people are taking advantage of it. And that's where I feel like there's that balance of toxic masculinity, and I'm talking from a boy's perspective, man's perspective, toxic masculinity, and using that mental health to kind of not achieve things. I do think, like, yes, you should listen. I'm old school. I spoke to my wife about it, right? Listen, I'm old school. I do want to be the protector of my family. I do want to fund for the family. I want to put my goal in life is to look after my family, right? You guys, mum and dad, right? But my wife and my kids in the future, like, I want to put a roof over the head and food on the table. That's my main goal, right? Outside of that, yeah, do what you want. You can work, you could go out, go gym, whatever you need to do, go do. But just know that that is my goal in life, right? That's what I believe. I'm an old school guy, right? I believe that is personally for me, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe a man should be from my perspective, right? And that does not mean I'm treating my wife in any other way, because she could do whatever she wants. She works, she has her own, own life and whatnot. But I understand, and she supports me. She actually supports me doing that, right? From financial perspective, but from a mental perspective, from all sorts of perspectives, right? So there's no way in hell that I could ever like degrade a woman, like my wife, my mother, any woman in general, right? So this is where like that toxic masculinity turns into that misogynist. That's where things go wrong. I'm saying, yes, you could be a man, you could be strong, you could be a protector of your family, right? But still, you got to one part of being a man is respecting a woman. It's respecting your wife, respecting your mother, respecting women in general. And they will help you push through that, right? There's that old quote, behind every man is a strong woman. I believe in that. You know what I'm trying to say? I do. But me as a personal, what I grew up with, what dad kind of taught us, like, no matter what, your responsibility is to put a roof over your family's head and food on the table. You see what I'm saying? But with this day and age, people do get influenced in wrong ways. And you spoke about a phone. Like, think about this, man. You give your child a phone at whatever age, instant access to porn, instant access to dead people, dead babies, dead children, instant access to bullying, instant access to horrible things that they see. This ain't the movies, this is real life. I mean, look at us, we're 40-year-old men, and the whole situation in Gaza has destroyed me by seeing dead bodies, dead children non-stop. Could you imagine a fragile little child who's seeing all of that stuff, man? How much they're going to be influenced by certain individuals saying certain things. They watch porn, so they don't want to, like, they see it, they get a whole disgusting mind frame around that side of life, right? So they can't even hold up a relationship. They won't be able to hold up a relationship, or they'll be twisted in that sort of sense. Dead people and accidents and all that sort of stuff, shootings and all that sort of, getting influenced in all of that. You've got certain individuals, saying certain things. Being influenced is such a, especially when your parents are not around, like the key people, like, because, you know, obviously they got full-time jobs, you're in a school, like that time you can have with them, I think is so important. And it's the parents' job, no matter what, I feel like. And I'm not trying to put pressure on the parents, but I do feel like it's, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because you're a parent, and one day I'll feel this, but you think about it, man, you got your 9 to 5, your kids got their 9 to 5 at school, right? Then you're going to give them some alone time, be it on a computer or watching TV or whatnot. You got the time that you have with them, man, like those couple of hours in the day, you got to use that time to kind of like teach them what's right and wrong. You know what I mean? When I say what is right and wrong, it obviously breaks out to such a more complex things. But you know, there's so much a parent can teach, and so much of that to kind of make sure the parents is the main influence in life in regards to what's right and wrong. And obviously for us personally, religion is a big factor of that, right? That's a big factor. Then and we the backbone of us being trying to be good human beings is our religion. Of course, we want to instill that into our children, but we also got to understand the realism that our children will end up making their own choices at the end of the day. Be it religion, is what religion has taught them, be it what we're taught them, they will make their own choices. We made our choices, you know what I mean? And alhamdulillah, we're here now. But as you spoke about earlier, you made mistakes. I've made certain mistakes. You know what I mean? We're all going to make choices. The whole idea of, not the idea, but the one thing you want as a parent is like, I'm going to try and prep them as much as possible. So when they come to that decision, they don't make a life-altering decision. Like they make the right choice. You know what I mean? Like they'll make dumb mistakes. They're going to have to. They're going to have to. But that one choice that could be life-altering, be it from a positive or negative position, hopefully I've trained them up to that point. I've taught them up to that point where they will make that right choice. You see what I'm saying?
You're right. Completely right, because that's what you want to do, is making sure that they don't make that life-changing decision and it goes the wrong way. I think that's really important. Now, during that time that you do have with your kids, yes, it is important, because that's you guys' time. You know, it's what you can pass on to them. I mean, Lara always asks like, "Oh, Daddy, you're really good at drawing. How do I become an artist like that as well?" And I was like, practice, training, tracing, copy. Stuff like that. So that time is really important. When I'm doing my prayers, that they know that I'm doing my prayers. So like, you see Nia jump in with me while I'm doing prayers. So like they got the concept of that. That's the thing that keeps me humane and grounded, is that praying and giving me a straight path and an easy guidance and some peace in that moment, even though that they're jumping around like crazy. But they understand that's one of the main factors. But it is important, bro, right or wrong. You're going to tell them the best you can, but we as you said, they're going to make mistakes along the way. We've all made mistakes. It makes you the person you are, and we're going to continue to make mistakes as well. But they need to understand that mistakes are going to happen. The system is going to fail you. It's never going to be perfect. You have to just keep moving forward. You have to get up and keep going. And it is hard. And as you said, the mental health side aspects of it. There are days you get up, man, I can't feel for this shit. I don't want to do nothing, man. I'm losing, But putting your shoes on and taking that first step and getting out there, that's what you want to be doing, and kind of go from there. Because once you're actually out there, you'll get through it, and it's always going to be tough. It's never going to be easy. But then, how do you teach them resilience? So that resilience, we got from our dad. So it's how do we teach them that resilience? Oh shit, Dad's still going into work. He's not feeling well, but it's that he's going, he's doing, he's trying. If I'm not well to a point where it's like, all right, I tried to go out there and then you come back again, but you went out there, you tried. I think that's what the most important part is. We're going to fail forward. I think that's such an important part of it as well, fail forward, but making sure that they're able to make the right decisions, bro. It's so difficult. And then the time that we give to them, making sure that we are, sharing experiences with them so that they can understand, mistakes are going to happen. We're going to make mistakes along the way. We're going to do so many mistakes, but they need to understand that, because what we're not taught in school is when you make a mistake, you get in trouble, right? What we're taught in reality is when we make a mistake, you're in trouble. You're fucked. You're gonna go away or something. they need to understand the fact that there's no harm in it. Mistakes are going to happen. And once they accept that, I think that's one part of Jamie's character where he was in denial. He couldn't actually believe what he's done as well. And it's a big decision to say that's not a mistake. So that's something you've actually done. But he was in denial. And I don't want my kids to be in denial. I want them to know that what you've done something, you know, it's a mistake, or you've done something bad. You've made that decision. How do we move on from that? And I think this show kind of perfectly showed that there's repercussions of some of the big decisions you make when you take somebody's life. And the fact that he didn't accept it for such a long time, that he was suffering quite deeply after what happened to him while he was getting bullied, bro. And you're right, it's more of a 24-hour bullying, because if people are liking that post, you go back to that post, you're seeing it, and you're like, oh my God, 20,000 people are liking this. That means they are, you know, everybody's involved. And it is a different time. So that type of bullying is on some next level, bro. And it's a shame that it's happening. And how do you monetize that? But how do you desensitize the kid from that? So it's like as a parent, for me, that's not reality. That is not reality. Yes, there's some major cool things that happen there. See it as a book of like a photo album, but that's not reality. They need to understand that concept, that this is not reality. Social media is not a reality. See it as a photo book full of memories. That's it. What you have here, tangible, right in front of you, your friends, family, and your uncles, aunties, we're here for you. You know, that's what they need to know, that this part of the reality. If somebody tells me online, like we always do, get cussed and the rest of it, that man, you keyboard warrior, bro. It is what it is. You know, I message back to say, you know, thank you so much for the beautiful comment. Bro, I do those TikTok lives, get abused, bro. I get abused, but it's like, bro, where are you? You're not here. And I don't think you'd even say that in front of somebody's face. There's no decency in it. You know what I mean? So my thing as a father now is teaching them to detach, because they're going to go through it, but I need them to know that that's not your reality. That is not your reality. And this goes out to a lot of people. This is not your reality. That is a persona. It's what we push out there in the world. People need to know that, yes, that's all the good stuff that you see, but there's a shitload of bad stuff as well. And I'll always stand by with what we do, is letting you guys know that that shit ain't reality. That's just a persona. That's just good memories that you guys share on there. But we share bad stuff as well, like, you know, all the shit that's happening in the world. Not bad. Not bad, but I just want people to know that. And I'm going to teach that to my kids, that that's not your reality. Yes, you could get bummed down by it because you put so much work into it. But I think once you detach yourself from it, it will do its own thing. Whether it gets you great opportunities or not, you guys need to see it as just, it's a bunch of zeros and dots, man. Shit. It's a bunch of zeros and dots. It's crazy, right? That the fact that people have connected themselves so much to it, bro. That's what's killing people. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen,
social media, and this plays a big part of this show as well. This plays a big part of the show as well.
No, definitely. I mean, look, with the social media, I mean, you touch on a lot of things, and you know, social media companies, they listen, that's how they got successful, you know, and then the algorithms and how that can lead people down like different like rabbit holes and whatnot, man. And especially if you're a teenager, man, you're still growing, you're still learning, man. And if the algorithm will feed you certain things, man, that you're just gonna keep getting, you're gonna get hooked on. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's what. It's not a reality, but as crazy as it sounds, it's become a reality in the sense. And this generation is different, but because they grew up with it, we were introduced to it. They grew up with it. It's embedded in them. We were introduced to it. So listen, man, we've come off social media here and there. We can detach. Ash just said, "Oh, guys, I'm off social media again." I recently came off everything because I didn't want to see anything. But like I said, it was introduced to us, so I could kind of separate myself from it. There's certain people that can't. There's kids. They're growing up with it. They want to be up on it. Their friends have it. You know what I mean? Like their friends have phones, their friends have social media. They want to be a part of it as well because there's that part of trying to fit in with your friends. One part of there's like, oh, having what they having. Like, you know what I mean? I want the phone, I want social media, I want to be a part of this group. That's not easy, man. And I had that growing up as well, like trying to fit in and whatnot. I spoke about this before. I done things that I didn't, that I know that's not in my character because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be liked. But the fact of the matter is, I was a certain way. I looked a certain way. I had a certain personality, whatever it is growing up. I was a small, skinny kid. I wasn't a cool kid at the end of the day, but I wanted to be. So could you imagine like what kind of persona you would put on social media? You know what I mean? It can be so fake because you could truly be who you want to be. You know what I mean? Like you put a mask on basically, and you could be something else. And sometimes that something else is not good, or it just corrupts your mind, and you're taking influences from the wrong thing to kind of put on this mask. And social media kind of gives you that platform to do it from. You know what I mean? We're very honest with what we do, man. Listen, our podcast, we talk, even now, we try to be, we're vulnerable. We talk about shit that we've gone through. We try to keep it real as much as possible. The Brothers Geekout Podcast, though, is us brothers connected, making sure us brothers are talking, us family. I mean, we grew up with making sure that family is the most important thing, having that conversation and whatnot. Yes, social media can be used to see, I can see what you're up to. I can see what Ash and the family is up to, which is great. But man, for other people, it is their reality. And there is that reality of like kids spending more time online than they are in the real world, right? And that's not going to change because these technology companies, and they're not gonna suppress that. You know what I mean? They're gonna grow on it. They bring like augmented reality, VR. It's gonna get more, man. They're looking to put chips in your head so you have full access to Google and all that sort of stuff. Like we're literally cyborgs. You put this, I'm a cyborg right now, right? I put it down, I'm a human. I pick it up, I'm a cyborg. You know what I'm saying? I could go on, I could tell you anything right now. I could go on ChatGPT and tell you, I'm a cyborg when I got this in my hand. I'm normal now. What happens when you put it in my head? I'm truly a cyborg. You see what I'm trying to say? It's difficult, man, for kids, man. And I don't, again, can you blame the social media company? Bro, they're billionaires. They don't give a shit.
As Javid would say, business is business, bro.
Business is, listen,
business
pawns,
is
man.
business.
These billionaires, bro, these billionaires, be it social media companies or just oil companies, freaking Tesla, what? Do you think they care about us? No, we are the ones that pay them. They want our money, right? End of the day, bro, we are nothing to them. In fact, most of these billionaires probably don't even give their kids social media and all that sort of stuff. Like, no. I know the consequences of this shit. I run this shit. That's why you're not getting any of this sort of stuff. They don't care. So it's up to, again, it's up to us. It's up to schools as well. It's up to teachers because they're in schools. Like I remember Habib talking about how the importance of a teacher, because this person is going to be raising your child more than you are at a point, 8 hours of the day. You need to make sure that the school system, that the teacher themselves are almost, I mean, listen, it's a hard responsibility, but that's the responsibility of a teacher. Is teaching the values of life and all that sort of stuff and what's right and wrong. So as parents, yes, but man, you've got to trust the school system and the teacher. And I think the school system fails too. Because in my opinion, listen, I'm no expert, but I think the school system has failed the kids too, because it doesn't teach the kids about the real world. What it teaches them about is about like maths and history. I'm not saying that stuff is not important, but it doesn't teach you anything about the real world. There should be a course on the real world. This is what happens when you grow up. This is what happens with social media and bullying and all this sort of thing. It's how you kind of handle it or find ways of trying to handle that sort of thing. But teaching just like academic subjects, which is important. But man, like there's got to be a shift. There's been a shift in human beings. There's been a shift in technology. Why isn't there a shift in the education system? Why isn't there a shift in like teaching kids about social media and the impacts of it and stuff like that? Why isn't there a shift in like there should be a shift in like how to pay bills and how to pay taxes and all that sort of stuff. Like there's none of that sort of stuff there. Why isn't there classed teaching
that's a systematic issue. That's a systematic issue.
Exactly.
That's a systematic issue. And I think this show kind of shows that as well. Like, they showed it with that teacher who didn't really care, who went to the toilet, left the class by itself. They blatantly showed it in here, which is great because it is something that happens because they don't care. They're just trying to do the job. It's a systematic issue. And I think as parents, it's something that we need to take in control as well. Like I'm going to tell my girl to jump on electrician courses, plumbing courses, carpentry courses, because it is so useful to know those things. Listen, we learned from dad ourselves. with the amount of stuff that he's done, which has helped me to do half the stuff that we did in this house. You know what I mean? Without getting somebody else to deal with it. I know a little bit, which is great. So if they know that, that helps out. That's real life trade, real life stuff. You know what I mean? Same thing, mortgages, bills, stuff like that, taxes, go self-employed, encourage them to run their own businesses. They need encouragement, bro. That's the main thing as well. And guidance. So that's what we can provide to them. And encouragement. If they want to try something, go try it. I don't want them to not learn. They need to be constantly learning. The school systems are not set, and I'm telling people now, are not set. It's a systematical issue, and it's a controlling issue as well. Remember that. Their curriculums are not made by the teachers in the school, and people think they're going to make changes. They're made by higher ups to make a society. Exactly. So they need we're the numbers, right? So they need those numbers to work in those places. So we're numbers. There's only one in few that go up there to do their own things. It shouldn't be like that no more. Moving forward, we need everybody to be young entrepreneurs, doing their own businesses, running their own things, and not working for the systematic issues. Now, the problem is now, and again, it's the society, government, all the rest of it, it goes up higher, is a bigger issue. But this show kind of perfectly shows those little mishaps about schools and what happens after school and all the rest of it, the social media side of things. So it's great that this covers such a broad amount. And I think what Stephen and the writer did was amazing when it comes to outlining all of those issues, bro. He outlined all of those issues. So, no, definitely. He's amazing in what he did and what he wanted to bring. And it's close to him as well. Again, he's a parent as well. He wants to know, he wants his kids to know as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and even with the whole system, the school system, the law system, the mental health service, the therapists that went and checked up on Jamie. I mean, you could, with a kid, even anyone in prison, listen, there's certain people who are just gone, right? They're psychopaths, whatever happened, right? There's certain kids or certain people that's made certain decisions. Now, with the prison system, again, that's just the business again, right? Especially with private prisons and all that sort of stuff, right? There is no encouragement of rehabilitating people. It's more like keep them in prison, punish them, but there's no emphasis on rehabilitation, especially in the UK and the US and all that sort of stuff. I know certain countries try to do that. But shouldn't that be one of the consequences of prison? Of course, you have to analyze the individual to see if they would possibly be suitable to be back in society, right? If there's a psycho out there, okay, you can't put them back in society. But with a child like Jamie and what he's gone through, finding a psychoanalysis on him, right, which is with an expert and whatnot, and instead of punishing him with prison, which he's going to get, he's going to be away from society. Why not also use that time period to kind of rehabilitate him mentally so he'll be capable of going back into society? I don't think the prison system does that, especially for young youths and whatnot. I don't think it does that. Like I say, if someone's completely out of control, that's gone. But as a youth, I mean, there's got to be ways to be like, all right, our job, this person, okay, Jamie done a crime. He's in prison. He murdered. He done one of the worst crimes you can ever do. He murdered someone. Regardless of what he went through, bullying and all that sort of stuff, it's hard. I know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that didn't add to it, but making that choice of taking a life is one of the biggest, worst choices ever you could make. So yes, he has to face those consequences. That's a fact. You have to, right? But while he's facing those consequences, why not find ways of rehabilitating him into society, right? I'm no expert on what that means, right? But what I'm saying is there's got to be ways to be like, okay, he's got to face his consequences. He's got to live with this for the rest of his life. How do we get him to a point where he can be part of society again? It's going to be tough, but there's got to be ways. People change. You've heard success stories of people changing and whatnot, or people growing up to be in, helping society and all that sort of stuff after they've done some bad stuff. I'm not saying bad people don't deserve. I'm not saying bad people don't deserve. I'm saying certain people deserve a second chance. I'm saying, listen, and I can't talk. If someone's gone through something bad, you wouldn't want them to go through a second chance. I got the Punisher right here. He's one of my favorite characters who don't give people second chances, right? But doing that psychoanalysis and really understanding if someone is innocent, which is like Daredevil, what he does. He tries to give people second chances. Sorry, I've gone onto a comic book sort of thing, but I'm just trying to give an example of second chances and rehabilitating, people, because I think that's important too as well, especially for kids, man, because you don't know, and kids, man, they're so vulnerable, and especially with parents.
The system's not made for that, bro. The system's not made for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The system's made for you to, when you fail it, and you fail hard, and there's no way of bringing you back. There are independent companies that are trying to introduce it more often. But think about it, bro. The amount of funding we get anyway in the UK, let alone that system, is heartbreakingly shit, bros. Like, what the government actually do provide, and it's always been the same. Nothing's changed. Doesn't matter what government we under. That side of rehabilitation won't get it. That's up to actually the individual. Because there are a lot of individuals that have come out of prison and have changed their lives. Excuse me, guys, sorry. And done great things and done a positive thing and trying to help their fellow folks on that side of the world. Excuse me, sorry, that sound is horrible, guys. But yeah, that's the system, bro. That's the system.
It's definitely a broken system, but what can be an unbreakable system is the family system. It's your family system, your community system. I'm trying to say, like, your friend system. Like, that could be unbroken. Like, yes, the system we live in can be broken. And I'm not going to sit in there saying I have solutions for the system, because I don't. I don't. But what I'm saying, it is a broken system, but it's put in place strategically from an empire's perspective. We need to rule. How do we rule? Cool. These are our sheep. We need to make sure they're in this system. Some things are good. Some things are bad. Keep them in the middle. Sometimes getting against each other, blah, blah, blah. But no matter what, we have full control over them, right? Cool. That's the way it is. Whatever. What is unbreakable is our system, right? Our family unit, our friend unit, which is why it's so important to communicate, man. It's important to communicate with each other. It's important to communicate with your kids, your young ones. It's so important to communicate with them and just make sure everything's cool, spend that time with them. They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be like, just let them do what they're doing. Like, you got to make that effort, even though as a parent, man, which is probably the hardest job in the world, as a mother, as a father, you have your 9 to 5, you're tired as hell. You want some chill time, but just spending that extra hour with the little one. Hey, let's go for a walk. Let's go kick some ball. Let's go. If you want to play games, all right, let's play 2-player together. But just not completely leaving them on their on their own online and all that sort of stuff, man. There's got to be something, and also having those difficult conversations. We never really had those conversations with our parents, but having those difficult conversations. Are you seeing certain things online? Like, listen, like, just know, like, have that conversation. I don't even know how to have certain conversations, but have those conversations. I'm trying to say? Like, it's so important, man, to just kind of change the parenting style in a sense, that being open a little bit more, but also letting them know I am the parent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a boundary. And I haven't experienced that, but there's got to be a boundary there as well. But just being able to kind of like manage that and just kind of like giving your child what they want, but also suppressing things where you're like, not yet. You know what I mean? Like a phone, like social media. Like, I see Idris on the game all the time. Okay, he's playing games, but he's on the game all the time. Through the game, what do I see? I see me in him, man, playing games and getting angry, punching the iPad and whatnot. I'm like, that's me. You know what I mean? There's an anger issue there. There's something there. And his parents, Ash and Shivs, do a great job of trying to suppress it. But I've seen little Idris, when they take away the iPad, my guy takes out his big thing with Titanic and he's like, I'm going to build this. I'm going to read this book. I'm like, see, this little kid and Ash and Shiv do a great job. Like, when you do take it away from him, the YouTube and all that sort of stuff, he does become so creative. He's such a smart kid, and he gets on books and he starts playing. I'm like, that's what you want. Just finding that balance. Okay, give it some time online and games. Give him that time to be creative. You know what I mean? All that sort of stuff. And I see it in him, man. You just can't, you got to find that balance. I know it's hard. It's easy for me to say because I'm not a kid, but one day, inshallah, I will feel it. But I have to remember my own sort of words and whatnot. Give him that time, especially on the weekends as well. Like I say, I think martial arts, personally, because I'm a martial artist, but I think sports in general is a great way for girls and boys to teach discipline, to teach the concept of hard work, teach the concept of failure. You're not going to win. Someone's going to be better than you. How do you want to get better than them? You have to work harder. You know, you might have to face the reality that you might not be able to keep up with that person, but how do you want to keep up as close as possible? You've got to work harder. You might fail still, but you got to be at training every day at this time or this day and this time. Like I personally think sports is such a great way, and I think they should implement that more in school. I mean, this is another part of school that I think they should implement, as well as real life studies. And yeah, they have PE. No, I'm sorry, like the PE class is not great. I'm talking about you've got to have a disciplined teacher in there to teach them discipline, like martial arts. I think fighting personally, just because in school, bullying and all that sort of stuff, if you teach a bully how to fight and a kid who's getting bullied how to fight, and I'm talking about jiu-jitsu, MMA, you know, Muay Thai, all that sort of stuff, like I promise you there'll be less fights because they don't know the consequence of fight. They'll be sparring in class. It'll be controlled with teachers and whatnot. They would understand that and they wouldn't fight outside of class. I'm not saying everyone, but there'll be a less chance of people bullying people outside of class because they understand the consequences of it, doing it in a class, especially something like jiu-jitsu. They'll get humbled themselves, you know, by, you know, putting them, you know, put like I said, I'm just using jiu-jitsu as an example, which is a great humbling tool, humbling the bigger man or bully or whatnot, without really hurting them, without punching them in the face. But sports in general, man, I think it's super important, man, to have those things, in my opinion. But yeah, it's tough, man, growing up in these environments, man. And listen, I live in Dubai. It's a different kind of environment. Yes, it's safer, but it doesn't hide people away from social media. You know what I mean? The kids might have a different perspective here because it's very safe and all that sort of stuff here. But they're still on social media. They still see what's going on, right? There's different consequences of where you go up. The fact of the matter, nowhere is safe because you're open to the social media aspects of life. But it's such a hard-hitting reality check of a show. You know what I mean? Reality check of a when I say entertainment, Netflix is entertainment. This is an entertainment show, but it was a very educational reality check to the world, to parents, to society. Like, this is happening. This is happening. And they absolutely smashed it. An absolute almost perfection of a show without being a documentary. You know what I mean? And I mean, like, without being a documentary, it was almost perfection to show what's going on in the real world.
No, 100%, bro. 100%. Yeah, it's a whole systematic issue, man. So, but this is a great, and like as I said, as much as it was supposed to be for entertainment, it was education as well. It was to let people know. And I think they had a great message in there as well. And it wasn't just because of what Jamie's character did. It's about the parents. It's about what the police go through. They gave us a full outgoing on it. So yeah, definitely. If you guys haven't seen it, don't know where you've been. It's like talk of the, like, bro, like it's insane. It's everywhere. Talk of the town at the moment now. So definitely want to check it out. It's hard hitting stuff, but it's true. It's the truth, bro. It's the truth.
The reality of life. All right, man. That's where we spent. I mean, listen, I think we could go on and on about it, of the reality of side of things and whatnot. I did want to touch on at least the direction and the cinema style of this, because that putting that with this show, I mean, enhanced the reality of the show. I mean, how amazing is it from a visual perspective, from a creative director, storyboarding, all that sort of perspective, to make this hard-hitting reality of a story, to really kind of portray that in the cinematography and the direction of it, which was this one-shot reality, which was absolutely fantastic, because I couldn't believe it. I've seen one-shot fight scenes in Tom Yum Gomo, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it is, that's hard work.
That's hard work, yeah.
But an hour of this is absolutely fantastic. And performances go up, because bro, theater is the closest thing I can think about, right? But theater is still contained, listen, theater is absolutely fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But it's still contained within a stage and props. We're talking about the streets. We're talking about variabilities and obstacles on the streets, be it from different people, be it from the weather, a freaking pigeon, whatever it is, man. The sound, someone dropping over the curb, all that sort of stuff. And I watched the documentary, the making of it and whatnot, and I was just fascinated by how you got this one camera to move along with everyone, and the way they passed it on to each other seamlessly, the way they attached a drone on it seamlessly, getting into a car, getting into a window, getting into it, like going through a window, all that's doing a chase scene. I mean, there's so much variability to go through. I couldn't believe how they did it. And the actors just being on point with the dialogue, the timing, their not lyrics, what you call it, script and all that sort of stuff. Emotion, everything they're putting. I mean, look, I took some notes from the thing that I watched, the making that I watched. And it's like the way they kind of approach it. Week one, the actors focus on memorizing the script and perfecting their performance, right? Week two, the director and the photographer coordinating with the cast to choreograph the precise camera movements, which must have been super important. Week 3 and 4, full technical run-through were conducted, integrating all elements seamlessly, right? Absolutely amazing. The filming process. Shooting took place in various locations across like Yorkshire and South Kirby, South Emsley, Sheffield. Each episode was filmed approximately 10 times, averaging 2 takes per day. The best take was selected for the final cut with no edits, no CGI blending.
Wow.
This method demanded exceptional coordination among the cast crew to maintaining the continuum of the offense. So this what I'm saying. How good this is. It highlights everyone, bro. Not just the actors and their performance, which is amazing, but they're on screen. You're highlighting, like I said, the cameramen, the lighting, the mic people, the director. Every single person on this set is getting credit for this amazing piece. Challenges that were notable, like of the technique. One of the most remarkable sequences involved a complex drone shot. In this scene, the camera operates seamlessly, transferring the camera to a drone mid-shot while then capturing an aerial view transition back to the handheld setup. This this movement required 2 weeks of rehearsals perfection. So it was that scene, I think it was episode 2 after the school, where what's his name's character, the cop, what's his name? Ashley's character, he goes off with his son in the car, and then the camera zooms. They attach. I saw how they do it, bro. The 2 people come on the side, and they attach this drone on the top. I mean, the way you got to practice it to make sure it's attached, it doesn't drop, the drone noise, all that sort of stuff, and then it just flies off. And it flies over to the murder scene, and that's where you see Stephen's character putting flowers in the murder scene. It was an absolutely amazing shot. To seamlessly do that, man, was just another.
I need to watch that. That sounds like really cool, man. I need to watch that. I haven't seen that yet.
When you see everyone just operating in the background, it's fantastic. You know what I mean? Because you just see them all running, guiding each other, holding each other, passing the camera over, trying to attach this drone. I mean, I can't even imagine like the like I say, simple things, just buckling over something because you're not looking at where you're walking.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, some of the considerable impacts, which is some of the stuff I talk about, is like the environmental impact, unpredictable weather conditions such as winds and risk equipment and all that sort of stuff, right? You got performance consistencies. The actors had to be on point, tears on time, like none of this, Give me a minute. It's coming. Let's come in. It's like, what's that movie? Tropic Thunder. It's like, Like, there's none of that. That you have to get it on point. Flawless performances, right? Continuous without the shot, right? Any sort of mistakes. Technical coordination, the synchronization of the cameras and the lightings and the sound, everything that we kind of spoke about. Those were the kind of like impactful stuff that we're talking about. So despite these challenges, the one-take approach significantly enhanced storytelling, drawing viewers to this intense, immersive world of adolescence. The series that had launched for its had allowed it for its technical mystery and innovation narrative style, setting a new benchmark in television. Listen, man, as a creator, and again, it's hard to geek out when the show touches on such important real life topics and whatnot. But as a creator, you're just looking at a piece of art, man. You're looking at a piece of art on TV. You're like, wow, we watch MCU, blah, 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 big budget, Avatar, 2 billion, blah, 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 cool, amazing, they are amazing. But when you see art, and I'm talking from a fan perspective, I don't know nothing about all this stuff, I'm always open to it. I can look at that and be like, wow, Like, I am fascinated about how you all came together as one single entity to pull this off. Amazing. What's your thoughts as a
Praises. As a creator, no, definitely, that's the thing. Like, you watch a piece of art and it sends out such a message. There's a quote that Nina Simone said was that as an artist, musician, videographer, painter, artist, like, drawing, we portray what's happening in the world right now. And we kind of, how do you say it? Like, project that on the world. Now, only a certain amount of people see that. So I think what these guys did creatively to put out such a great message out there, and such an important message, such a hard-hitting message, and done in such a creative way. I praise everybody on that. I think it's absolutely amazing. It was, bro, when I watched that first episode, because it made me feel like I was there walking around with them. Like I was a bystander watching. You're going around in circles with them. I was there. So if you can make me feel like I was there, if you made me feel all those emotions, if you made me feel teary, you've done the right job. You've got your message out there. And it has caused a positive and a negative. Positive and negative always going to come together. But something really, a great message out there for the society as well. It's good.
Bless you.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely positive message. Creatively, it was done. It's masterful, bro. And as you said, they worked as one whole unit. That's amazing. That is amazing. Oh, let me go get some tissue.
Yeah, no, well, look, I mean, from the creative perspective, absolutely amazing. Like, going on to like just finishing off with final thoughts or whatnot. Anyone and everyone should, I feel like, should watch this show. There's something you could take away from it, from a society perspective. If you appreciate the way it was shot, that's amazing too. It adds extra benefit, right? Do we expect more of this sort of content or whatnot? I don't know, and I'm not saying like don't jump on a bandwagon to bring out this sort of content. This sort of content is very important. I'm just talking from my perspective. I think it's an important piece of content. It's an important piece of storytelling. Don't jump on a bandwagon to pull out these sort of content pieces. Like, make it meaningful, because I think the show had more meaning. There's a lot of meaning to it. Stephen said one of his what influences was what kids are going through or whatnot. Make it meaningful. These one-shot projects, listen, amazing. Everyone else doesn't have to go and do one-shot projects. Like, one-shot projects, like, amazing. They're great. Do them. Doesn't mean everyone should go out and do them. Doesn't mean I'm expecting like a season 2 or anything like that. No, like, I'm not expecting. Should be a one-shot, one-time masterpiece. And if you're ever going to do another one, the same, like, the story, the meaning, it has to have meaning to it. You know what I mean? The one-shot one, it doesn't have to be rinsed. It doesn't have to be a new thing. Everyone doesn't have to. It does elevate things. Don't get me wrong. It shows out there. There's levels to this shit. And exactly. Another level. But it doesn't necessarily mean it works for every concept and every storytelling. This one works.
No, and I don't think it should be, like, as you said, nothing to be jumped on. This had a really good message to it, and I think that's the way it should be. And everything should have a good message to it. I know we're going to get random stuff, and random stuff is good, but it should be something. This is really important. It was a really important message to be put out there, and I don't think people should jump on the bandwagon. And the problem is that we're in a society where we're used to doing that. So it's taking the message from it. Take the message from it, because some people say it could be boring. It wasn't, as exciting as they want it to be. Don't see it that way. You know what I mean? Don't jump on a bandwagon. Everybody loves to jump on a bandwagon. It's about what truth came out of it. That's the main thing. And what people take from it. Because creativity, people are going to take creativity in different ways. So, like, I get that asked as a creative myself, like, what's the next project you're working on? What does it mean to you? When they ask me questions about what do you think about Robert Downey Jr. coming back to, the MCU. Listen, people make creative choices. Things happen. We're going to see something. I'm just happy we're getting to still see this stuff. I think that's what people have forgotten, is to appreciate that the artistry that we get, and not call it content. The artistry that we get, the love of film and TV that we get at the moment now is be in love with that. It's not content. Content, man, content. We're moving away from it. It's quite scary, and I think people need to appreciate the art in it. The art and the message is so important. Art and the message. It's a great show. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. I think it's an important message as well, and it's not something to jump on a bandwagon about because this is stuff that happens in real reality. So check it out. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, check it out. Well, I mean, listen, man. We can go on and on about it, man. But let's call it there. I think we've expressed ourselves a lot. This was definitely like a therapy session, geek out session, expression 100%. Session of this show. And if a show can impact us in this way for us to jump on board and say, "Hey, kid, we need to talk about it," then you've done a great job. So
exactly.
Shout outs to everyone who worked on it and everything. Yeah, man. That's our review for Netflix Adolescence. Guys, check it out. Kibbs?
Yes, no, definitely. I know we got a bit deep on there, but I think sometimes it's good to have that good conversation. Plus, you get to know us a little bit more as well. As always, guys, massive thank you. You guys have been absolutely amazing. You guys on the channel have been smashing it at the moment. Recently we hit just over 1,000 subs. Thank you so much for that, and we're still growing, so which is absolutely amazing. So thank you to everybody who subbed recently. Make sure you guys check out the community page. We always post things on there to let you know what we're up to. And then if you guys want to comment, like, dislike, all the good stuff that helps us out. And there's still about 60% of you that are not subscribed. You guys watch content, but you're not subscribed. So subscribe. But you can follow us on all of our social media platforms. If you don't get the time to watch us, then you can catch us on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. But other than that, take care of yourself, guys. One love. Peace.
Peace.